Welcome to the Flight Safety Solutions presentation on where to find maintenance data.
Aircraft maintenance is a very important part of aviation safety. Everyone involved in aviation has their own part to play to ensure the risk of an accident or incident is reduced. Failure to perform regularly scheduled maintenance will not only reduce flight safety, but will also increase the running cost of an aircraft. Whether you are an aircraft owner, operator, maintainer, or a pilot, knowing where to find maintenance data can help increase safety and reduce operating costs. When it comes to aircraft maintenance, our regulatory responsibilities differ slightly depending upon our role as aviators. As an aircraft owner or operator, you are solely responsible for the continuing airworthiness of your aircraft and all fitted components. This does not mean you have to physically do the work, but what it does mean is that you are responsible to ensure all applicable maintenance tasks are performed on your aircraft at the appropriate time. Basically, you need to tell your maintainer what needs to be performed. It is not the maintainer's responsibility to know what maintenance needs to be done. Maintainers may give advice, but ultimately it is the owner or operator who is responsible to make the final decision on what needs to be done. Maintainers are responsible to ensure that the maintenance to be performed is carried out in accordance with the applicable standards of airworthiness. Basically, the maintainer is only responsible for how the maintenance is carried out. Pilots have a responsibility to ensure the aircraft they are about to fly is airworthy. This can be checked by analyzing all three parts of the maintenance release. It is not mandatory for recreational aircraft to have a maintenance release, so if you are renting an aircraft from a flight school, ask your instructor to show you that all required maintenance is up to date. It is your ass in the aircraft, so don't take chances. Make sure all required maintenance has been carried out. As an owner or operator, you are probably asking yourself, how do I know what needs to be done? One way is to build a good relationship with your maintainer, who should be familiar with the ever-changing regulations. Just remember, the maintainer will not know everything about every aircraft. For example, put two Cessna 172 aircraft side by side, and they will both have different continuing airworthiness requirements. This means, if the owner or operator does not know what needs to be done, then the maintainer will have to do research for your specific aircraft, and as such, they should be paid for the time they spend researching the requirements for you. Remember, ultimate responsibility to ensure the aircraft is appropriately maintained remains with the owner, operator. Continuing airworthiness information needs to be gathered from numerous locations in order to create a defined list of scheduled maintenance tasks. These tasks will help improve safety and compliance. Additionally, performing scheduled maintenance will help reduce the cost of maintaining your aircraft. Knowing where to look is not well understood by many people, including some maintainers. If you don't want to pay someone to research the data for you, the following information will help you understand the basics. Civil Aviation Orders. CASA directs a list of general maintenance requirements and their specified inspection intervals within CAO 100.5. Not all tasks in this list will be applicable to your aircraft, so you need to evaluate each task individually and determine if it is applicable to your specific aircraft and type of operation. These tasks, where applicable, are mandatory and are required to be performed on every registered and recreational aircraft. Airworthiness Directives. CASA issues airworthiness directives under CASA Part 39. It is important to note that recreational aircraft are not exempt from airworthiness directives. Not all airworthiness directives will be applicable to every aircraft, so you need to evaluate each airworthiness directive individually to determine if it is applicable to your specific aircraft, engine, propeller, equipment and type of operation. Airworthiness directives are mandatory and signal that an unanticipated problem has been discovered in an aircraft in service. It could be a design deficiency, rapid wear, fatigue cracking or corrosion, any or all of which could pose a substantial hazard. Airworthiness directives are sometimes amended, so it pays to keep checking for any variations that are applicable to your aircraft and equipment. An airworthiness directive that was not applicable to your aircraft at initial issue may become applicable upon amendment, and vice versa. When a certification for airworthiness directive compliance is made in the aircraft records, the maintainer needs to ensure it is recorded correctly, and you, as the aircraft owner-operator, are responsible for ensuring the list is accurate and up to date. Maintenance programs. The owner-operator needs to nominate what system of regularly scheduled tasks you will use in order to comply with your regulatory responsibility under CAR 41. For registered aircraft, there are 3 choices on what maintenance program you may choose. You need to decide which is best for you and your aircraft to be safe and reduce excessive costs due to over-servicing. The first choice is the manufacturer's maintenance schedule. Most aircraft manufacturers will publish a suite of documents, including an Aircraft Maintenance Manual, AMM, and an Illustrated Parts Catalog, IPC. The AMM will likely include a maintenance program that will contribute to the specific continuing airworthiness requirements of the particular aircraft. There are 2 basic components to the maintenance program within the AMM. The scheduled maintenance tasks will normally be grouped by a specific airframe hour at calendar intervals, such as every 25 hours, 50 hours, 100 hours, or 12 months, 200 hours, 300 hours, 500 hours, and 1,000 hours, depending upon the requirements of the specific aircraft. Additionally, the schedule may contain a list of component life limitations that detail the period that certain components need to be removed from service permanently. The second option for a maintenance schedule is CASA Schedule 5. CASA Schedule 5 was developed many years ago addressing an identified unsafe condition when some light aeroplanes were imported into Australia. These aircraft either had the absence of or an inadequate maintenance schedule. CASA Schedule 5 is available to most aircraft less than 5,700 kilograms. However, most manufacturers now provide quite comprehensive maintenance data, schedules and instructions for continuing airworthiness. This is due to design and certification standards being continually improved to provide you with greater safety and cost-effectiveness. You may nominate the use of CASA Schedule 5, however, you must ensure that this maintenance schedule covers all components and systems adequately to warrant satisfactory continuing airworthiness for your specific aircraft. The final maintenance program option is a system of maintenance. This type of system allows you to design your own maintenance program from all the different information available to provide for the continuing airworthiness of your aircraft. It could combine the basic manufacturer's schedules and retirement lives found in the AMM, applicable service bulletins, and other acceptable data. You can even add specific requirements you design yourself to suit your specific operation. Developing your own system of maintenance can be time-consuming and expensive to have approved. Preparation demands a substantial working knowledge of the specific aircraft and its systems. Please note, for recreational aviation light sport aircraft, you do not have a choice as to what maintenance program you can choose. As detailed in the Technical Manual Volume 4.1, which is correct at the time of writing this presentation, you are only permitted to perform maintenance as required by the manufacturer's maintenance program. For home-built, kit, or experimental aircraft, you are considered the manufacturer, and you may determine your own continuing airworthiness program. However, remember that you are responsible for the lives of the people who fly in your aircraft, as well as the safety of the general public. I know this is a lot of information to digest, but at this stage you are probably asking yourself, which maintenance program is the best to keep my aircraft safe and will cost me the least amount of money? Each one of these programs has its pros and cons, but as the owner-operator, you must decide which maintenance program to use in order to have an effective continuing airworthiness program. As part of the continuing airworthiness, the maintenance schedules are updated by the manufacturer. This data is shared with owners and maintainers via service bulletins, letters, and instructions. The manufacturer of your aircraft continually receives feedback about any maintenance defects and operational problems experienced from maintenance facilities and operators such as yourself. You can help improve flight safety by reporting any aircraft faults or problems to CASA via their Service Difficulty Reporting Program, and to administrators, such as Recreational Aviation Australia, via their OMS system. The manufacturer of your aeroplane, engine, propeller and other components analyzes these reports and may issue a service bulletin or other service information to advise maintainers and owners about potential problems. They may also introduce an additional inspection, procedure, new part, or service kit in order to try and prevent the problem happening again, with the goal of improving safety and product reliability. Manufacturers' service information are normally the required process for complying with an airworthiness directive. They are also frequently issued well in advance of any update to the maintenance manuals, AMM, and any changes to inspection schedules. Some manufacturers rarely update their AMM and depend on service bulletins to provide new data to be used as the continuing airworthiness instructions for their aircraft, engine, propeller and components. This means that owners and maintainers must regularly check the manufacturer's website to stay up to date with any new service information that may be published. Despite their legal and moral responsibility to ensure all aircraft owners and maintainers are kept up to date with changes that may affect airworthiness, some manufacturers are not as diligent as others in providing this information readily. What type of support you will receive from the manufacturer should be a very important consideration when choosing what aircraft to purchase. Some manufacturers have fantastic support via their websites, and service information can be found easily. However, whilst there are great manufacturers' support pages, other manufacturers' websites leave a lot to be desired, and it is difficult to find information. The aircraft owner-operator is responsible for assessing each individual service bulletin to determine whether it is applicable to their specific aircraft. From any list of service bulletins, the owner-operator should determine what service bulletins need to be done. The owner-operator should then advise the maintainer, so the maintainer can perform the work in accordance with the appropriate airworthiness standards. This is the how it is done. Note: for recreational aircraft, adherence to all manufacturers' service bulletins is mandatory. If you choose not to follow a service bulletin applicable to your aircraft, you should be prepared to defend your decision to an auditor, regulator or coroner, particularly if your aircraft is involved in an accident which could be attributed to non-compliance with the particular service bulletin, or indeed, any other continuing airworthiness requirements. Let's have a talk about modifications. Registered and light sport aircraft are not permitted to be modified unless the modification is approved by the manufacturer, who may publish options via a service bulletin or AMM amendment. A. Supplemental Type Certificate (STC), which is a modification package that has been designed and tested, then subsequently approved by CASA or other regulatory bodies. This STC is normally then marketed to all owners of the aircraft type. An approved document, such as an engineering order (EO) or letter of approval, which normally allows any person who has a great idea to improve their individual aircraft and do not want to gain approval via an STC. Bottom line here is you cannot change anything in or on your aircraft without approval by one of these means. This includes trying different propeller and engine configurations, right down to changing instruments and radio equipment. Rule of thumb is that if any change is permanent, then it needs an approval. In the case of, say, a USB outlet, if your aircraft has a cigarette lighter adapter, then you can use a USB adapter that plugs into it. But you cannot drill a hole in the dash and wire a USB receptacle in without an approval. Well, that's just the overview. There is a lot more to owning an aircraft than just going for a fly. So how do we keep track of all this stuff? Consider this. If your aircraft records, logbook, are similar to a kindergarten scrapbook with lots of loose pages and stapled forms and entries, or worse, the logbooks for your 12-year-old aircraft have no entries whatsoever, you may have a hard time keeping a handle on when all these tasks were last done and subsequently when they are next due. Take the BreezyLog test by asking yourself the following questions. Without searching through the logbook, do you know when your altimeter was last calibrated, CAO 100.5 task? Without searching through the logbook, do you know if you have complied with all the airworthiness directives that are applicable? Without searching through the logbook for the last entry, do you know when the last magneto inspection or rubber hoses replacement is due? If you don't know when they were last done, you probably will not know when they are next due, and you are probably not maintaining your aircraft adequately to be safe and compliant. Underservicing decreases safety and increases costs. Additionally, if you can't find the answers, how do you expect the maintainer to create a work scope and know what maintenance to perform without spending time researching your logbook and deciphering previous entries? This adds extra time to the maintainer's day and subsequently increases your maintenance costs. We know it sounds complex, and it is, and you are probably asking, is there an easier way? Absolutely. Flight Safety Solutions offers services which employ the use of specific built software to simplify the owner's responsibilities. It also makes life much easier for maintainers, saving owner-operators significant costs. By utilizing cloud and mobile device technology, pilots enter flight details during each flight to update the aircraft records in real time. These entries automatically perform all maintenance planning activities. The system provides visual and email alerts to owners and maintainers when any task achieves 20% remaining of its scheduled life. BreezyLog automatically updates any new airworthiness directives as they are issued by CASA. The system provides alerts and a simple assessment tool in order for the owner-operator and maintainer to remain up to date without extensive research. Owners and operators can allow maintainers and pilots access and/or visibility to the complete aircraft records. This allows everyone to confidently meet their regulatory responsibilities quickly and easily. Flight Safety Solutions products such as BreezyLog, coupled with our other training courses for owners, maintainers and pilots, are aimed to help everyone be well informed about the exciting world of aviation. Make your aircraft safer for less money by taking control of your maintenance records. Contact the friendly and knowledgeable staff at Flight Safety Solutions, who will help you understand the complexities of the world of aviation. We want to help make your aviation experience safer and more affordable.
Flight Safety Solutions presentation on where to find maintenance data. Please note, information given in this presentation is correct at the time of writing, and it is the responsibility of the viewer to confirm the information is appropriate for their intended needs.